Hi everyone, my name is Sindhu Yaramosu, and I'm from Yardley, Pennsylvania, and I'm a 9th grader at the Pennington School. Today I want to talk to you about how you can turn small things into big things. So I'm going to give you some key points, and I'm also going to share with you my story on how I turned my small things into big things. So let's start off with the key points. So the first step that you have to do in this process is to find your passion, because you need to be motivated about something. Next, you need to get serious about it and do some research, because you can't just think of it as just a passion or just a hobby. And lastly, you need to combine it all together to get a product. Now, the product doesn't have to be an object. It can be a technique, or it can be maybe mastering something that you didn't think you would master before. So now I'm going to share with you my story. And I hope that you see yourself in my words, because we all have engineers inside of us. So to start off, I know this may seem silly, but I started off with slime. And in 4th grade, I saw everyone around me making it, and I wanted to see what the big deal about it was. So when I made it, I thought it was really fascinating that sticky materials can turn into non-sticky materials and that it can be malleable. And learning how to make slime helped me realize my passion with seeing how things react. And I wanted to do something else that involves that passion. And baking is essentially a chemical reaction. So I decided to bake. And I started off small, just with boxed cookie mixes, but I wanted to do something more. So I asked my dad to get me a boxed cupcake mix, and when I made it that day, a question popped into my head. What is this made of, and what makes it react like this? So then I decided to make the cupcakes from scratch. And I learned a lot of things that day that I didn't know before. That baking soda and baking powder can be used to make things rise, and that applesauce can be used as an egg substitute. And from these two things that I've been doing, I realized I had a passion for making things and seeing how things react. And on to the next step, which is to get serious about it and do some research. So I started researching on algae, and you're probably thinking, why algae? Well, algae was once considered a slime, which is what I was doing before. And when I was researching on algae, I came across an article that said that algae can be used as a bacon substitute. And when I read that, I immediately contacted Professor Toombs from Oregon State University, who wrote this article, and asked him, why does it react like this, and what algae can be used to make this bacon substitute? Dulce, which is the algae used to make this, is not only good, like yummy to eat, but it's also good for us. It helps human welfare because it contains lipids that are used for our body's functions. It also helps animal die-off because we won't need to kill as many animals for their meat anymore. And lastly, it helps with deforestation because we won't need to cut down as many trees for cattle. And while I was doing all of this, the algae, the baking, and the slime, I came across some bad news. My grandma was diagnosed with cancer. And now this was a really bad time for us. But I wanted to do some research on this and see how cancer basically comes and how you can heal this, like what's the process. And surprisingly enough, I came across another article that said that slime can be used to heal cancer. And from this, from researching and getting serious about this, I realized that what I'm doing is not just a hobby, it's not just a toy. And on to the final step, which is combining everything together and producing a product. Now, as I said before, the algae helped animal die-off. And I wanted to create a product that will help that. And when I saw a bunch of deers dying on the side of the road, tens and thousands of deers, and cars getting millions of dollars of damage, and humans getting very severely hurt, I knew there was something that needed to be done. So I'm now building a solution to help two worlds coexist, the humans and the deers. And what I want you to get out of all of this is that what you think are just your passions or are just your hobbies are not just your passions or your hobbies, because we all have creativity expressed in us in different ways, and all creativity can help the world. And if you follow these 3 steps, even the smallest things that you do can have the biggest impact on the world, because there are things our generation needs to solve. Thank you.